Hey, what it do, Gridiron Glory fans? It's the first week of games. Everyone starts undefeated, but not everyone ends it that way. Week 1 is filled with those jitters in your stomach that you've been feeling since the last whistle from last season. We went out to 3 games tonight with 2 slated for tomorrow, so stick around to see how your team did tonight and whether or not your future opponent got off to the right or wrong start. Gridiron Glory, Episode 2 starts now. Let's go. Hello and welcome to Gridiron Glory. I'm Joseph Hennessy and it's finally here, the first games of our coverage. All the early morning practices, 2-a-day practice, and weightlifting sessions, it all comes down to this. Film study, rest, bulking up, or cutting down and repeat. Did your team win? What is the game of the week? What is the top play of the night? Keep watching and we'll let you know. But to start our show, we're going to see who our first fan of the week is this season. My crew and I went to Meigs High School to see the Marauders take on Gallia Academy. We'll show you what we saw from the field later on in the show, but now watch who was the biggest and cutest fan in Pomeroy. Just a heads up, the audio may sound kind of rough because the rain wasn't any help for us tonight. You're about to see the first fan of the week, Decker.
We're here at Meigs High School with Meigs' #1 fan. What's your name?
Decker!
Decker. Decker's super excited to watch the Marauders take on Gallia Academy. Now, Decker, how old are you?
6.
6? Decker, what's your favorite part about school?
Recess.
Recess. And what's your favorite part about coming out to these games?
Watching my brother.
Yeah, he loves watching his brother. What's cuter than that? Down the line, you guys just say your names. All right, you ready?
Wyatt Goff, Addison Whitlatch,
Mason Qualls,
Lynn Lewis, Chase Justice.
What are you most excited about this season for the Marauders?
Oh, let's see. Just winning games.
Yeah?
Yep.
And you guys always play back here? You guys play during the whole game, or is it just?
Sometimes I would come out during band starts, third quarter, I would come out.
You come out?
I can do Orange Justice pretty good.
Well, let me see it. All right, move out of the way. Move out of the way. All right. Hey. There we go. We like that. Okay. He was flossing. Get all right. All right. You got this. He's flossing. Ready? Hey. All right. Hey, shoot. Decker! I see you. Don't worry.
All right! Yeah! There we go. All right.
Yeah.
Decker, Meigs High School. Stay tuned.
That kid was adorable. We were walking towards our car when we saw yet another lightning strike to delay the game even longer, and we hear a dad say, "Hey, this is the fan of the week." We look over and he's pointing and cheering. He's like, yeah, me. It was a great way to start our fan of the week segment. So Decker, thanks for letting us talk to you. We appreciate it, my guy. The Belpre Golden Eagles are pumped up and ready to go. In just the second play of the game, senior Logan Adams finds an opening and takes off on a 40-yard run. Sam, what do you got for us in this game?
Beverly, and you already got things started, so I'll pick up where you left off. All right, here we go. So tonight, on the first play of the game, like I said, the Belpre Golden Eagles were pumped up and ready to go. In the second play of the game, senior Logan Adams found an opening and took off in a 40-yard run. Now look at that. Now, a little later on in the game, in the first quarter, it's Fort Frye's time to shine. Brian Adkins breaks through a flock of Belpre defenders for a 23-yard gain. The Cadets will turn this one into a touchdown and be the first team on the board. Fort Frye has another chance to put up points when Connor Baker fumbles the ball. The Cadets will find themselves another touchdown, making the score 13-0. The Golden Eagles haven't given up just yet. Fast forward to the second quarter when Logan Adams soars down the field with a 37-yard punt return, giving Belpre a chance to score later in the drive, making the score 13-6. The Cadets try and answer back, but their plans are foiled by a Belpre interception. Now get ready for this. Logan Adams with an 80-yard run. This man is so fast, our camera guy couldn't keep up with him. He'll secure the Golden Eagles their final touchdown of the evening. In the second half of the game, Fort Frye runs away with the win. The final score is 34-12.
Now, clearly, the Golden Eagles have a lot of talent on both sides of their team. What stopped them from sealing the deal in the second half?
You know, I think Belpre struggles with what really every team in the TVC Hocking struggles with, and that's passing. Once they get that down, they're set. Don't get me wrong, Belpre has some talented guys on offense. The dynamic duo of Connor Baker and Logan Adams had some great plays tonight, including this 29-yard pass. They also play a great ground game, but they need to tighten up their passing to stay competitive against these tougher teams like Fort Frye and Waterford.
They were able to keep the score down in the first half, but let things slide in the second. How is their defense looking?
They relied on Jeremiah Weaver, Gage Clark, and Cody Daughtry, as well as Logan Adams and Connor Baker for big hits, especially in the first half. Their defense did fall apart in the second half, but if they could keep up their energy going forward this season, I think the Golden Eagles will find a lot of success.
Yeah, Belpre was able to hold their own in the first half. Do you think tonight's matchup against Fort Frye gives us a look at what we can expect from these two teams and Waterford?
Well, last year when Belpre faced off against Fort Frye, they did have a similar result with a final score of 42-14. They scored the same amount of touchdowns, but they allowed less this year. When Waterford and Belpre played last season, Waterford came away with a win of 24-7. Waterford and Fort Frye's matchup last year was the closest of the three, with Fort Frye coming away with a 2-point win of 22-20. So I'm really interested to see if these teams stay consistent with the results from last year or if we'll have a surprise later on this season.
Yeah, going to be a good matchup, Sam. Thanks for the great work. TVC Hocking is going to be fun to watch. And on your computer, go to woub.org/gridiron for our written recaps on your mobile device. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. And make sure to keep up with all the content we got. We got a lot coming for you guys. We can't keep up with all the games, so we need your help to help showcase the talent that Southeastern Ohio has to offer. So send in your top plays from the night to Gridiron Glory on Twitter or direct message us with the video with the hashtag GGFansent. The Tri-Valley Scotties opened their season tonight against the Logan Chieftains, and our own MVL lead reporter, Paul Roth, was there to watch the Scotties' scorching offense. Paul?
Yeah, Joe, that is an understatement. These dogs came out firing on all cylinders to open the season. They're really fantastic tonight. I mean, their offense was nonstop going. I mean, they put up 4 touchdowns in the first half. It was absolutely electric. I think I saw at least maybe 4, 5 plays of over 40 yards.
Well, I know that we had a bunch of top plays and we couldn't pick between one or two. And you said, when you got back, you said Tri-Valley, this game, just put the whole team on there.
That's what I said.
That's what they had. They had all the top plays. We always love to talk about Tri-Valley, but what did you see from their defense tonight? What do you think?
Oh, their defense was stout, Joe. It was absolutely stunning. I mean, obviously the offense had a great night. You put up 28 points in the first half. That's pretty stellar.
Yeah.
But Logan just had 1 first down through that whole first half. The Scotties were flying to the ball constantly, and the Chieftains' offensive line just couldn't slow them down at all. Tri-Valley had 3 sacks in the first half, and 2 of them were courtesy of the big man Guile Bradshaw off the D-line.
Wow, that's pretty nuts. Yeah, the Scotties' defense was big tonight for Tri-Valley, like you said. So both sides of the ball were absolutely dominant for sure.
Oh, yeah, Joe, I could go all day about this defensive performance. I'm not kidding. Logan managed just 49 total yards of offense in the first half. And Tri-Valley stuffed the run time and time again.
Yeah, that's what Tri-Valley does. Stopping the run game is a big part of any defensive game plan. You know, especially against the Chieftains, that's the bulk of their game plan, to run the ball.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. You know, they just threw 2 passes, completing 1. And while, you know, yes, Tri-Valley should expect Logan to run that ball every single time, you can't overlook that dominant effort.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you consider how quickly their offense was coming off the field. That defense was constantly going out there every single time, and they were still, every single time, 3 and out, 3 and out. 3 and out. It didn't matter.
I mean, that's what you want, especially if you have a high-powered offense like Tri-Valley does. You kind of want to give you guys a break. So if you have your defense out there getting stops, you're scoring. The momentum is just completely in your favor the whole game.
Oh, for sure. And they carried it right into the second half. While the offense slowed down a little bit, I'm sure they took the starters out.
Yep.
They still went away with the win 35-7. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We saw a lot of the Scotties' offense there, but clearly their defense must have been on point. You know, 7 points, again, that's pretty phenomenal for a defense.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. I mean, especially looking at the first half and second half, they just didn't slow down.
Yep. All right, Paul, thank you so much. We always expect a lot from the Scotties every season. That's a fact. But if they keep playing like this, it could be a scary year for the rest of Southeast Ohio. Thanks for the great work, Paulie. It definitely was, and they threw just 2 passes, especially when you consider how quickly, again, Tri-Valley, great matchup, great team. For week 1, we have 2 games of the week, but they will be played tomorrow night. Jackson versus Wellston. The Ironmen versus the Rockets for the 106th time, and the final matchup we may ever see. This rivalry is the longest in the entire state of Ohio, so there is absolutely no chance we wouldn't go to that one. And the other game of the week is the Trimble Tomcats hosting the Nelsonville York Buckeyes. These 2 teams do not like each other, and I love it. The passion they have for their hometowns. Neither of these teams want to lose this one at all, and I love it. The rivalry is so heated. Our tweet of the week involves the 2 teams, so make sure to keep watching to see what that tweet is. We will have crews walking around capturing the intensity that these 2 games will have, so be on the lookout for them. Now, we just previewed some future TVC Ohio games, but most of this conference played tonight, and TVC Ohio lead reporter Jacob Murray was at Meigs High School as well for the matchup between the Marauders. Jacob, beside me here, what did you see between the Marauders and Galley Academy?
Yeah, right, Joseph. It was a high-scoring game a year ago between the Marauders and Galley Academy, and they were looking for a different beginning to their season this time around.
Now look, the Marauders, they were ready to go. They were pumped up. It was a bit of a rainy night beforehand, as they did have a little bit of a rain delay before, but you know what? They were ready to go once it started. And look, the Marauders tried to get their offense going throughout this entire game, but it never really seemed to work out for them, as Galley Academy was stopping them all the time, both on the run and through the air. Coulter Cleveland's best strategy, just get out of the pocket and find the man, find that open man. But really, there was no room to run for him out there. He was running around for his life out there. Galley Academy came at him full speed. They must have done their research before the game because he had nowhere to go and no one to really throw to.
Yeah, so maybe not the high-scoring game like we saw a year ago. Again, you said the rain, lightning delays that can only cause, some build-up before the game. But what was the issue that held these offenses back tonight beside that? Or do you think anything?
Look, really, the biggest issue were penalties. And I guess you could really see this happening early on in the season, especially because, you know what? Beginning of the year, they don't have the same kind of continuity with each other. And, penalties showed throughout the entire game here tonight.
So was it mostly just the penalties slowing them down, though?
Well, that was part of it. Okay. But I guess before the game, with the rain delay, they couldn't really pump themselves up right beforehand. So it might have been some of that as well. But you know what? Both of these defenses played very well tonight. On both sides of the ball, for Meigs, they could not get anything going. And there were really only a couple of big plays for Galley Academy and only a 24-0 win for them.
I remember you telling me that earlier. So it was a very rainy kind of night for the Marauders offensively, but were there any positives to take away from the slow start for them?
Look, I think one thing they did find especially is a running game. Abe Lundy is a bruising running back for him, and he showed off a little bit of the footwork for him as well. He was able to get outside and get to the corner and kind of cut his way through a couple of the defenders to get, some good positive gains, but the biggest problem, every time there was a penalty. And he could not do anything to make up for that, and it's shown in their shutout here tonight.
Yeah, it should be an exciting time for the Marauders this year. Thanks for the good work, Jacob. We are excited to see how they come back next week. The Trimble Tomcats play ground and pound football. How do they do it so well? Well, yeah, they have athletes Connor Wright and Cam Kittle, but it all starts up front. Here is our first Facebook post of the season from Mrs. Kittle, and the Trimble community recognizes that linemen need some love as well. They hosted a lineman appreciation dinner, and it was absolutely awesome to see lineman love. We're here for it, Tomcats. Thanks for the post. Sorry you couldn't see it, but it was a great picture. Thank you, Mrs. Kittle. In what could have been the farthest game away in our coverage tonight, reporter Will Collins traveled out to Hillsboro to check up on the Indians and their contest with the Western Brown Broncos.
Joseph, tonight these teams battled the elements and the Indians had the upper hand throughout the game. Now, let me tell you, these Indians, they battled these elements all night long. It didn't stop their student section, of course, from having their beach theme tonight, but I want to tell you about their defense. So here it is right here. Here's their student section and their beach theme. Getting started, here's the Hillsboro defense, a host of Indians coming in and taking down quarterback for Western Brown on the next play. You see a punt here. You don't really see this in a highlight call much, but this pins them deep, pins the Broncos deep down inside their own 5. 2 plays later, the Hillsboro defense is going to come in clutch here. Look at all those Indians coming through and taking down Western Brown's quarterback for the sack. Now, later in the quarter, quarterback Justin Spears at Hillsboro fumbles the ball, and Western Brown's Isaac Trevino picks it up. He scoops it. He scores. It's 7-2 at that point. Western Brown over Hillsboro. Now, later on, Mark Gallimore takes the ball here, and he's rumbling. He's bumbling. He's going down inside the 30-yard line. He gets taken down. And that's a big gain for Hillsboro. Later on that drive, 3 plays later, they plunge it in for a 1-yard score and regain the lead, and after a 2-point conversion, be 10-7 Hillsboro. Now later in the second quarter, Spears to his receiver in for another score. It's 16-7. Now you see this is one of the most interesting plays of the night. Spears has it in his left hand at first, pulls a little Pat Mahomes trick, throws it to his receiver with his right hand. They would finish this game at the half, it'd be 16-7. And Western Brown would mount a little bit of a comeback, but it'd be 16-14 in the final.
Now you mentioned these teams battle the elements. What was that like?
Well, Joseph, this game started with a weather delay due to a crack of lightning we witnessed as we walked in the stadium tonight. They also played with slippery field conditions and wet footballs.
Was there a certain player or defensive unit that got it going for the Indians tonight?
Well, I have to say it's the Hillsboro Indians defensive line tonight, as well as Seals Sanchez, who was definitely the player of the game for the Hillsboro Indians. He had multiple sacks and tackles for loss in the backfield. He was all over and lived rent-free in the heads of both Western Brown's offensive line and their quarterback.
Yeah, that's what you want, but how did the Indian offense look tonight?
Well, I would say they're a little bit hot and cold, Joe.
Okay.
They struggled early to get going, but once they got their running game going and their tempo going, they started to plunge in scores and really take control of this game. I mean, they were able to milk a lot of time off the clock with their extensive running game, and that'll take a lot of time to away from Western Brown's offense. So they were able to, I guess, kind of eliminate Western Brown's offense from the equation.
Yeah. And last question for you. Were there any interesting plays in this game? There's got to be one.
Absolutely. There was one play in my mind, and it was an extra point. I call it a muddle huddle. They lined up in a special formation, and they actually their long snapper directly snapped it to Mark Gallimore, who was out kind of away from the hashes, and he plunged it in for a 2-point conversion. It was nothing like I've ever seen, but I've seen the formation, never seen someone score on it.
Awesome. That's a great play, and although Hillsboro lost a lot of talent this offseason, they showed that they were really prepared for the Week 1 challenge. Will, thanks so much for the work. The Uniono Shermans traveled to Vinton County to take on the Vikings in TVC, Ohio. Reporter Ethan Sands is here to give us the lowdown.
Joseph, the crowd tonight was electric. They were extremely hyped, and the fans took the rain delay to show how much they missed out on Friday nights and football. The Vikings play a game of hard-nosed football, and Zane Carr shows that just in a little bit. But right now, let's see how these fans celebrate. Right here, like I said, Carr lays down the hammer and strips the ball away at the same time. And on the same drive, Braylon Dameron uses his legs and busts it out to the right. Let's see him do that right here. He goes out to the right and gets into the end zone, dives for the pylon, and draws first blood of the game. 7-0 Vinton County. And the Shermans aren't ones to go away, and Jamarcus Carroll goes 7-on-7 and lays him out. And see, Isaac Little then has to move over, got some pressure, moves to the right, and dumps off a pass to Bird Green. But 7-on-7, that's once again, and let's see that hit. And now going down into the passing lane. No, wait a second, he's going to roll out to the left and take it himself. And little did you know, Dameron wanted to show that he can score again. Trots in the end zone, untouched. Let's see that celebration. And with a minute left, the Vikings had to go 90 yards, but Caleb Smith said, "No, sir, I'll be taking that." And with just 13 seconds left on the clock, the Sherman tossed it up for a 25-yard touchdown to give them the lead, 14-7 going into the half. The game ended after Vinton County scored with a minute left, but the extra point was blocked. Final score, 14-13 for the Sherman.
Close game there. What were these offenses like, though? There's a scheme for both teams, but what were they tonight?
Well, Joe, I know you played wide out when you were in your heyday, and the long ball is something we love to see on Gridiron Glory, but one of these teams threw the ball a lot more than the other, but the defenses made this game close, no matter the scheme. The Vinton County Vikings and the Uniono Shermans ran two very different styles of offense. Vinton County rides with the ground and pound as they switch between two main running backs. Logan Baker and Jacob Wells switch behind QB1 Isaac Little to carry the load on the ground. Baker is a stocky back that'll dish out some punishment with the best of them. And when you switch to a speedy guy like Wells, well, he'll get away from you. That's a dynamic duo. Uniono goes to the aerial attack as the main source of their offense, and Junior Bird Green is a lethal threat. The shifty wideout plays on both sides of the ball, and his length lets him go up and get balls. Isaac Little runs the offense for the Sherman, and if he can't find his man through the air, well, his legs are no problem. carrying the load some of that time. And on defense, the spark tonight was Zane Carr of Vinton County. I mentioned his blast of a hit a little bit earlier, but he must have had a mind of a mission. He went to deliver a massive blow to the returner, and that made them deep in their own territory. This game was low scoring as both teams had some hard hits, forcing incompletions, short runs, and like I said earlier, hard-nosed football.
Ethan, we love some hard-hitting football, and that is a great way to start the season for sure.
Joe, these fans made me remember how much I miss Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
And here it is, our first tweet of the week. A little trash talking, don't hate to see it, but this time Trimble added a little more oxygen to the fire. There was a tweet Lucas Moore sent out. You can probably find it on Twitter. It showed a specific jersey hanging in Trimble's gym. The whole banner on Trimble's wall said, "Our offense scores, our defense blocks, Nelsonville just talks." If you thought this game wasn't talked about enough, you have no idea what is coming for you. Now the Trimble Tomcats, the Nelsonville York Buckeyes, Keegan Wilburn, Connor Wright, Mikey Seal, Sawyer Coons, the Buckeyes have been open about their feelings toward the Tomcats down the road, and Trimble has been open about how they feel about the team over the hill. This is how you bring glory.
I think we should win that game.
Everybody on the team is excited for week 1 most.
11 orange helmets to the ball, every single play.
Team over the hill, so let's look home.
Let's go now.
Tomcats have been trash talking each other all week, really all off season, really all the time, nonstop. So we bring back our TVC Ohio and TVC Hocking lead reporters Jacob and Sam to debate the heated matchup. Let's start out with Sam, since Trimble did win this game a year ago. Sam?
That's right, Joe. The Tomcats did shut down NY last year, and there is no doubt in my mind that they'll do it again this year. Last year, Trimble demolished the Buckeyes 34-7. After that, their defense went on to shut out 9 teams. They have a lot of guys returning and have been in the weight room all summer, so I'm expecting Nelsonville's offense to have a tough time to make big games.
Look, they might not have run a lot on defense, but without Max Hooper patrolling that secondary, Mikey Seal will look to try and take advantage of that. He can especially do this with one of the best running backs in our coverage, senior Keegan Wilburn, who could burn some of the newer faces in the secondary.
Sure, your guys may be able to put up a few points, but that will be nothing compared to the Tomcats. They have the one and only Connor Wright, who we will be talking about all season long, as well as Cam Kittle. Minus a couple faces, the Buckeyes will be up against the same state runner-up offense. So just prepare yourself for another Tomcat win tomorrow.
Look, it's nice that you guys were state runners-up last year, but this is a new year. The Buckeyes are looking for revenge this time around, and the experience they got from last year's game could help them out immensely.
I think we're out of time. You guys both are right. This should be an exciting and physical game tomorrow between both sides. Thanks for the good work, you two. 106 years, the longest rivalry game in the state of Ohio, ends tomorrow. Jackson may have the lead in all-time wins between the two, but that doesn't mean the Rockets are just going to self-destruct. Here is our other game of the week for Week 1, the Jackson Ironmen versus the Wellston Rockets.
trying to improve the overall atmosphere of everything, try to build a little bit more excitement and get some more community involved in what we're doing.
Molly, a graduate of Jackson High School and a teacher at Wellston Intermediate School. A graduate of Wellston High School and a teacher and a cheerleading coach at Jackson High School.
The Wellston game is going to be huge. Well, obviously the Wellston game.
Definitely the Wellston game. It's going to be last rival game. Hopefully it breaks the attendance record. Can't wait for that. It's always fun.
GG Crews will be at the pregame festivities, so be on the look out for the polo shirts. This is a tremendous tradition that these two teams have, and it's a shame it has to come to an end, but we get it. Both teams need new traditions and new rivalry games. We're happy to just be a part of that last matchup, right, Jacob?
Yeah, it should be a very fun game to watch. You know, Jackson, one of the better teams in our coverage, and for Wellston, you know, they bring a very important and very dangerous rushing attack that we should see maybe them try to move the defense side to side, get to the outside, and maybe score some touchdowns.
Yeah, no disrespect to Wellston, but, you know, Jackson is always fighting for that playoff spot. They're always trying to, you know, play the bigger and more, the higher enrollment, you know, schools, so it just makes sense that they're moving on from this. Again, they both have immense respect for each other. It's just kind of hit that time now where you just got to move on and do different things, you know?
Right, yeah, and even though, you know, Wellston plays in the TVC Ohio, maybe not the same kind of competition that maybe Jackson would be, but you know what, still a very fun matchup every year. You know, it's been going on for so long, you know, it's nice to end it on a note like it is tomorrow.
Right, it's going to be really exciting, a really good atmosphere though. I mean, that's not even up for debate. That atmosphere is going to be crazy. I know the support that both teams get and the passion that comes out of this event, it's a whole day thing, you know. I mean, we're going out there at around 11 a.m. noon, so that's pretty crazy, right?
Right, yeah, you know, it's a whole day thing. We don't even have the game until about 7 o'clock at night, so, you know, it should be a fun day full of a bunch of activities, hopefully some good food there as well.
Oh, hopefully some good food.
And it should be a fun game at the end, too.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. It should be a good one no matter what. You know, Jackson, again, you said in the FAC, that's, you know, different competition. TVC Ohio, different competition. Wellston's trying to cement that culture. You know what I mean? They're trying to get the first steps in. Jackson is already there. They're just looking to really compete for that state championship.
Right, they've been loaded for the last couple of years now. And, you know, Wellston's kind of looking at them like, you know, I kind of want to be on that level someday.
Yeah.
You know, they do have that run game to get them there. You know, just improvements all around, you know, could get them right where Jackson is someday.
Right, thanks, Jacob. And week 1 is in the books. Can't take it back. Can only move on and improve from here. Week 2 is 7 days away, and of course, we're going to be at more games. What are we, a one-show wonder? No, we're not like that. Come on, we got more. Here are the games. The FAC will challenge the TVC Ohio next week. We'll be at Jackson to travel Athens. You know, we're really excited to see. Athens fell earlier today to Waverly. Southern will take on Fed Hawk, and it's overall just going to be a really exciting week. We'll have everything posted on social media, so keep up with that. Follow us on all of our social media outlets. And remember, you know, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory. You bring the glory, and we will report it. See you next time, next week. Have a good one.